A couple days ago, I released a video talking about Tonex pedal and Tonex software and what I personally felt were two of the most powerful and useful controls we have in there, and those were the presence and depth controls. I also talked about some of the other advanced parameters that we can tweak in there. The common misconception is that we should never touch a tone model. That if we're using a tone model somebody else created, whether it's the folks from IK Multimedia or someone like myself who makes third-party tone models, that if we go in there and tweak the EQ, that is going to somehow destroy the original intention of that particular tone model. But as I've already spoken about in that video a little bit, that couldn't be further from the truth. It really is something that is done quite regularly when we're in the recording studio and we mic up a guitar amp, that the tones we hear on the finished recording are pretty much almost always with a certainty going to be EQ'd at some point by an engineer, whether it be the recording engineer who recorded it or the mix engineer after the fact. And it's going to be other things done to it as well. It could be compressed. And there's all sorts of ways of manipulating audio. So there's really nothing wrong with going in there and tweaking to match your ideals and your guitar and your monitoring system and your playing style. The truth actually is that if I had simply moved the microphone around a little bit when I created that tone model, that the EQ curve would have been extremely different anyways. Today, I want to talk about another common misconception and another extremely powerful control, and really talk about what this control is really doing. Because I also think from my discussions with folks and from what I've seen folks comment online that there is another misconception here, and that has to do with the gain control. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm also going to showcase my just released Voxy 20 Direct Ultimate tone model bundle, and that is a tone model bundle of this incredible Morgan Dual 20 amplifier here. This is in the Vox AC30 top boost style of amp, but really incredible sound. I already have a tone model bundle out utilizing this, with it being mic'd into a couple various speaker cabinets, but I've had some requests to do direct captures of it, and so I did just that. But I've also shot two custom impulse responses, one through a Celestion Custom 90 speaker and one through a pair of Celestion G12 T75 speakers that really complement each other nicely. So those are also included in this tone bundle. I'm going to play you a demo video a little bit later in this video that's going to showcase both of those speakers utilizing these direct captures, and I hope you like it. I'm also going to be using these to demonstrate what I want to discuss as far as the gain controls today. So I will take you through some of the solo tones in this to get started, just so you can hear what these tones sound like, and then we'll get on with our discussion about this all-powerful gain control. All right, so here we are over in Tonex. As I was mentioning, I have my JS Voxy 20 DI tone models here, and you'll notice here that there's a cab based on a Celestion Custom 90, mic'd with a Bayer Dynamic M160, and another with a Celestion G12 T75, also mic'd with that same mic. One of my favorite microphones. Really, really love that mic. You'll notice we have numbers and letters here. So the 1, the 2, the 3 are different gain levels. The N or the T is going to be the normal or top boost channel. And if you see N-EF86, that is utilizing the EF86 preamp tube in the Morgan Dual 20, which gives a little higher gain than just the standard 12AX7 that can also be utilized on the normal channel. Let's just run through some of these tones so you can hear what's going on. This is just the lowest gain setting on the normal channel. Let's just cruise through some of these. This is going to the Celestion G12 T75 speaker, a little bit fatter. I'm just playing my Gibson SG. You hear a little bit of that chime come in. Now, this is the amazing thing. If we switch from this tone model here, which is the 12AX7 preamp tube, to the EF86, A lot more drive out of that, going over to the Celestion G12 T75 speaker. Just really enjoying these tones. Over to the top boost channel on the custom 90 speaker. That's on its lowest gain setting. A little bit beefier when we get up to the G12 T75 speaker. Now onto the second gain level. This is the custom 90 speaker on the normal channel. Beautiful breakup. To the Celestion G12 T75 speaker. Just kind of get through these a little quicker. Off to the EF86 preamp tube. Change speakers. Top boost channel. Different speaker. Now onto the highest gain level on the normal channel. Like a bit of a grainy overdrive, but that can actually work really nicely in a mix. Switching over to the other G12 T75 speaker. Smooths the sound out a little bit. Let's get higher gain with the other EF86 preamp tube. The G12 T75 speaker. Top boost channel. Through the G12 T75 speaker. And that's all of our tone models in this package. So the link is below if you want to grab a copy of this tone model bundle. And later in the video, like I said, I'll let you hear how all of these tone models work in a mix. And I actually did 2 mixes, the same mix, just utilizing the 2 different speakers. So you can kind of hear that as well. So just fun stuff and getting to hear how these tones work in a mix. So let's do this. Let's maybe go to this particular tone model. So that's the normal channel, kind of halfway up. Beautiful, beautiful tone. Now, what I wanted to discuss here was the gain control. So what is the gain control? Well, if we actually go over to the Tonex manual, it says gain sets the input gain of the tone model from 0 to 10, resulting in more or less saturation. So why is this important? Well, I've already done videos talking about the input trim control and how important that is in the global settings of Tonex pedal to make sure that we are getting the same out of Tonex pedal as we are from our software, so that we don't have to worry about things not sounding right. We set that one time and we're good to go. And a lot of people said to me, I really wish that wasn't a global setting. I wish that was a per preset setting, and it absolutely is. And that is this control right here. It is our gain control. So this is just controlling the amount of input that hits the front of the amp. So in a way, this is really no different than our volume control on our guitar. And changing this would be no different than changing from a guitar with lower output pickups to higher output pickups. The harder we hit the front of an amp model, the more it is going to distort and saturate. So I can illustrate that by simply turning my guitar volume down. slowly bringing it in. We can hear that more overdrive and distortion characteristics start coming into the tone as we hit the front of that tone model harder. Well, it's going to be much the same way as doing this. If I pull this back, and a lot of folks say, don't touch that, that's going to destroy the tone model. It's not going to destroy the tone model. This is no different than if I simply just rolled the volume back on my guitar. And here we have less breakup. So if we were to do this, turn this down considerably, hitting the front of the amp with less level and causing it to not saturate as much, and just balance that off by turning the volume up at the end. You'll notice now, no matter how hard I hit, the amp model isn't breaking up anymore. Now, here's the argument. Folks say, well, that's not accurate to the way the tone model was captured. Now, that shows a real lack of understanding on how the whole process of modeling an amp works. When we create these models with Tonex, you'll notice that a series of test tones are played through to measure what's going on with the amp. And then approximately 5 minutes of guitar riffs of various styles and volumes, some loud, some soft, some clean, some dirty, some high output, some low output, are played into the amp. Now, the reason for this is Tonex is trying to determine the behavior of this amplifier. Its non-linearities, we shall say. How it reacts to very low-level signal, how it reacts to very high-level signal, and everything in between, so that it can accurately model the sound of this amp. It needs to have that information. Now, the thing about it is once we create a tone model, Tonex has no way of knowing what guitar we're going to play with it. Are we going to play a guitar with extremely high output pickups? Or are we going to play a guitar with extremely low output pickups? We can do either one. It doesn't change the characteristics of that amp. Obviously, it's going to sound different, but that has nothing to do with the amp model. The amp model is going to react the way the amp model is going to react, and Tonex will have captured that because of the method they've used to model it. It takes into account low-level and high-level and mid-level signals that are hitting that amp, and therefore figuring out how that amplifier reacts to all of these situations. So if we come in with a guitar with low output pickups, we don't sit there and say, well, this tone model's not working right anymore. That's not the way it was intended. No, we just play that guitar into that tone model and we're happy or maybe not happy with the way that the tone model sounds. And maybe we have to make tweaks from there. Maybe we grab a lower output pickup guitar and we go, oh, that's better. But that's really not going to be any different than adjusting this gain control. So the reason I bring this up is, let's say we had a tone model such as what I'm playing right now. That's going to sound a certain way with my Gibson SG. But now if I go and switch to a Strat style guitar, I have my Vigier Expert Strat here. It's going to react to the output of these pickups now. Well, nobody's saying that the tone model isn't working correctly anymore. If I roll the volume back on this, Nobody's saying that the tone model isn't working accurately anymore. It's working exactly how the amp would, because the modeling process has taken these kinds of changes into account. And it's modeled the non-linearities of this amp and how it reacts when hit with different levels of input gain. So really then, that tells us that if we're allowed to control it this way with different guitars and with our volume control on our actual guitar, then that would be no different than manipulating this gain control. We're not going to destroy the tone model. We're not going to make it sound like a different amp or the wrong amp by simply altering the input gain on it. Amps are designed to have different input gains and react differently, and that's the beauty of them. Now again, why do I bring this up? Well, let's say we get a tone model, and with the guitar we're playing, maybe has super high output pickups, and we find that it's just saturating the front of that tone model a little too much or not enough. We can simply come in here and say, I would like a little more, or I would like a little less. So I'm going to switch back to humbucker pickups. Now I'm using my Vigier GV Wood with amber pickups, and here we have a completely different sound than with the Strat style pickups. One is not better or worse. They're different, and we can utilize them in different ways to get different results. But let's say that I just wanted less gain out of that all the time and I want to save it with the preset. I could simply roll this gain back and maybe at the same time, to keep the volume level up, raise the volume over here. This does not affect the tone of the amp. It's just bringing the overall volume up or down. We might be perfectly happy with that, or even be controlling this via MIDI and say, you know what, I want to have two settings. Then I want to have another setting where I crank this up. Now we may decide that that's too much, and when we push it that much, maybe sound gets a little brittle. Maybe we just push it a little bit less. But we can really tweak this, and it's a real shame if we have in our mind that these controls are not allowed to be used. I mean, if that was the case, then IK Multimedia just would not have included them. It would have been silly to put them there. But utilizing the gain control is not any different than having different guitars with different output levels of pickups, or manipulating our volume control on our guitar. So, as I said with the tone stack and with the advanced parameters, please do not be afraid to tweak these to get exactly what you want out of a tone model. There is nobody on the planet that can create a tone model that is going to be absolutely perfect right out of the box for somebody who is using a different monitoring system, who has different tastes, who uses different guitars and a different playing style. That is just not possible. But what we can do is create a tone model that captures the essence of an amp, and then with the very powerful controls that we've been given by the folks at IK Multimedia, we can gently, or maybe even not so gently, shape that tone into something perfect, utilizing the noise gate, the compressor, the reverb, the deeper controls here in the advanced parameters, and the gain control. We can also swap out cabs. There's lots of possibilities, and there are no wrong answers. So we really have to get past this idea that, no, you can't touch these because that destroys the original intention of the tone model. It doesn't. We've already captured the essence of that amp, and now we can tweak it to perfection, much like is always done in recording studios and on pretty much every recorded guitar that we've ever heard. All right, I hope that helps clear up some misconceptions and actually gets people working in that manner where they can get more out of their tone models and can have more fun and enjoyment and really get what they want to hear. Having said that, I would love to play you a couple mixes now utilizing the tone models I was just showing you in this video. Again, this is of my Morgan Dual 20 AC30 style tube amp that I really love, and I've captured these direct with a couple custom IRs, but also opens the doors for folks to use these in a more flexible manner, maybe with a real guitar cabinet, or add their own IRs or their own speaker cabs to it. So I hope you enjoy that. This is what these sound like in the mix. All right, thanks so much for listening to that. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the tones. This tone model bundle is available at the links below from my website if you're so inclined and would like to support my channel and help me to keep doing these videos. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Please like the video. Please share it with anybody who you think would find it useful. And also please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Ciao for now.